Hello, my family. Whenever we visit a museum, we often notice that most of the artifacts aren't kept behind glass or under heavy protection, especially in geological museums, where there might be actual dinosaur skeletons on display. That's when you start to feel a bit tense and cautious, afraid you might accidentally touch a bone or something, and the whole skeleton could collapse in an instant. But have you ever wondered, what would actually happen if you broke something in a museum? Whether it was by accident, or even on purpose. Welcome to your channel, Unanswered Logic. This is a new episode all about what if you broke a priceless artifact in a museum. If one day you happened to be in a museum and ended up breaking a priceless artifact, there are usually three possible scenarios that could unfold, depending on the situation at the time. The first scenario is if it truly was an accident. Let's say you're walking and you slip, and in the process, you knock over and break an artifact. That's exactly what happened to a man named Nick Flynn at the Fitzwilliam Museum of Art and Antiquities. While he was walking down the stairs, he slipped and accidentally crashed into three porcelain vases from the 17th century, worth about $500,000. Since it was clearly unintentional, the museum didn't press any charges. Instead, the museum director simply sent him a letter asking that he not visit again in the near future. Interestingly, the museum never revealed his identity to the press. Nick Flynn himself later came forward and told his own story. The second scenario is if you break an artifact because you violated museum rules, like touching or playing around with something you shouldn't. That's what happened with two elderly visitors at the National Watch and Clock Museum in Colombia. They tried to touch a wall-mounted clock to see if it was working, but unfortunately, parts of the clock fell to the ground in a dramatic scene. Again, no legal action was taken, but the museum did post a video of the incident on YouTube with the title, "Please do not touch." It was their polite way of saying, when you come here, be respectful, keep your hands to yourself. And again, the identities of the two individuals were never disclosed. The third scenario is if you intentionally break an artifact. In that case, things get serious. Ironically, this brings us back to Nick Flynn, the man from the first scenario. While his case was originally treated as an accident, Flynn later gave multiple interviews where he claimed he had broken the vases on purpose. That's when the Fitzwilliam Museum reported the incident to the police. He was detained for a full day while authorities tried to determine whether the act was deliberate. In the end, the case was dropped due to lack of evidence. But not everyone gets off so easily. One man who was convicted of intentionally damaging an artifact is Andrew Shannon. He punched a valuable painting on purpose, and when the police searched him, they found a can of paint in his pocket, suggesting he was planning to vandalize it further. Andrew was sentenced to 5 years in prison, and the case was classified as a criminal offense. And here we've reached the end. We hope you found it informative, and more importantly, enjoyable. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so we can keep bringing you content you love. See you next time and have a great day.